Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Sweden once again. We're going to go to Uppsala, which is of course one of the old university towns in Sweden, kind of like Lund where I studied of course. And for this one we are going to do my third review from Tempel Brygghus, who mainly do sour beers. So for this one we're going to have a taste of the Simulacrum, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and this one is described as a sour Nelson. It comes in at 4.5% and I'm assuming that by sour Nelson they mean it's a sour beer that's brewed with Nelson Sauvin hops, but I'm sure we'll be able to tell that from the flavours of the beer, because Nelson Sauvin of course has that really kind of distinctive green sort of white grapey flavour to it. But it should be a really interesting beer. My experiences with Tempel Brygghus in the past have been really positive, so here's hoping that it's another one. And of course this is one that was actually recommended by me by a beer guy in the Systembolaget up there who was really knowledgeable, so he says this is one of his favourite ones from Tempel, so I'm sure it will be a pretty good beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, link to my other Tempel reviews in there as well. No doubt I'll add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one for all the Swedish beers that are reviewed. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Tempel Brygghus first off then. So as I've told you before, Tempel Brygghus was founded back in 2014 by Arvid Longren, and they're actually currently based just outside of Uppsala. I think it's about 5 or 6 kilometres outside of the city centre. But the brewery apparently has roots in Västerås, and Arvid was originally a home brewer before he decided to found his own company and turn professional. So they shared a premises in the early days with Jackdaw before they established their own brewery. I think, as I said, about 5 or so kilometres outside of Uppsala, and this has a capacity of around 100,000 litres of beer per year, although they do say that this can be expanded and they plan to expand it in the near future from what I gather. So he's joined at the brewery by Johan Holmedal, who previously worked for Slutskällan's brewery, also in Uppsala. Of course, I think they're the oldest brewery in Uppsala, if I'm remembering correctly. And the brewery specialise mainly in sour beers, like I was saying, although they do plan to actually add some more IPAs and stouts and things like that to their range. They've got dark sour beers, they've got light sour beers, a lot of different things, and I'm sure I've seen a couple of kind of regular IPAs and things like that from them on cask. But as I say, they do plan to expand that in the fairly near future. I mean, the only brewery in Sweden I think that is fully specialised in sour beers and wild ales and stuff is Bräckeriet, who are down in Landskrona, near where I live in Lund. So yeah, really interesting brewery this one. As of 2017, their beers are also distributed by Brillenco throughout Sweden as well, so you can get these quite easily in restaurants, but if you want to get them in Systembolaget, you have to actually order them through the thing, unless of course you are from the Uppsala area. So yeah, keep an eye out for some of the Tempel beers. They've always got some really interesting stuff, and yeah, I think you're going to enjoy these. If you're a fan of sour beers and you like Bräckeriet, this is another kind of Scandinavian or Swedish sour beer brewery that you can have a look at. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. As I say, check out the link in the description below if you want to learn more, or you can follow them on Facebook and keep up to date with the latest goings on. So anyway, that's enough about the brewery. Let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So yeah, there you can see the nice wave there. I'm not sure what the Simulacrum is, if it's the name of a wave or a famous ship or something like that. It could be, just I'm seeing there that it's they've got the ship on there, so I'm kind of guessing that. As I say, I'm not too sure exactly if the Sour Nelson does refer to the fact that this has Nelson Sauvin hops from New Zealand in it. I'm guessing it could be, because otherwise I wouldn't see the point in naming it as Sour Nelson. But yeah, it seems like it's nicely presented. Similar style of artwork to the other ones. I'm sure the other ones that I had before did have some kind of like pirate nautical type artwork on them as well. I'm sure, because it was a very similar design. And I always think the Tempel symbol does remind me, if you look at the back there, if you see that, I'm just checking, you can see it on the camera, it does remind me quite a bit of like the Illuminati and things. I always think that's quite cool. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting. Like I said, a 4.5 Sour Nelson, and I should also show you the bottle cap on this after we've opened up. Very similar to what was on the back of the bottle there. But yeah, you can smell some of that nice kind of tart, lemony, citric character coming out of this beer. So yeah, let's get it out and into the glass. There we are. So yeah, as you can see, a really nice kind of bright golden ale, this one. It actually reminds me a lot it looks very much like that mango that I had from Dugis Brewery a few weeks back, or a few months back, whenever it was actually. But yeah, look at that. Really bright kind of yellow, pale golden straw. If I put my fingers behind that, you can see it does have a little bit of transparency to it, but mainly that's quite an opaque beer. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the top of that head there. But overall, you know, it does look really quite nice actually. So you can see one or two little bits of sediment at the bottom there, but you know, that is to be expected when it comes to bottle conditioned and sour beers. Yeah, sour beers can sediment a little bit, and you can actually see in the bottom of the bottle there is a little bit of sediment there that's obviously giving the beer a little bit of its haze. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Okay, so with this one, I'm feeling that it has quite a nice, quite light bready base. There's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in there, I would say. Yeah, definitely a little bit of sort of pale malt, a little bit of white bready quality, some biscuity notes like I was saying, some kind of, as I would say, there's some kind of, it's like sort of tart, lemony, citric. It doesn't actually say on the side here whether it's lactobacillus or Brettanomyces that they've used in this one, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, but the hops on this one, there's a little bit of a grassy character. It's not quite floral. I do wonder, there is a little bit of an almost green grapey, white grapey note to this one on the aroma. But mainly, it's a kind of lemony, tart citric kind of thing. Yeah, there is. I think there is a little bit of I think there is a little bit of a kind of green grapey note to that. So as I say, I'm really wondering if this kind of sour Nelson beer is one that just uses Nelson Sauvin hops. It certainly does have a few of the kind of telltale signs in the aroma of Nelson Sauvin. There is a little bit of that almost green grapey, maybe even a little bit of an almost orchard fruity note, like, don't know, but maybe a little kind of touch of apple or something like that. It's definitely a little bit of that to this beer, but it smells really nice, it looks really nice. Let's have a taste of this one. So if I'm pronouncing this correctly, this one is the Simulacrum from Tempel Brygghus up in Uppsala in Sweden. So have a go at some of the sour. If you like sour beers, this is a brewery you definitely want to check out, but let's have a taste of this one and see how we get on. So let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. What I'll say about it is that it starts off pretty sharp. Okay, it is almost a little bit kind of, it's really tart in the beginning, I would say that. But yeah, once it mellows out a little bit, it actually, once you get past that really quite sharp initial flavour, it mellows out just really nicely. Like, this is a really easy drinking sour beer, this one. I mean, at 4.5%, it is kind of a session beer, to be honest with you. I would always say between sort of 4 and 5% is a session beer. Some people will argue, like a lot of English real ale drinkers will say, oh, it has to be, you know, it has to be between sort of 3.8 and 4. That's your kind of typical session beer, if you like. But for me, I would always say I kind of got into beer by drinking the German beers, and most of them were between 4.5 and 5. So for me, 4.5 to 5% is more of a session beer. But that is nice. I do like that. I mean, I'm not entirely sure, but I do get the impression there is a little bit of Nelson Sauvin hop in there. If you just pay attention to the fruity flavours of this, just behind the front curve of the tongue, you do get a little bit of that kind of typical green grapey note. It really is quite nice. It's a nice beer, this one. By no means is it going to kind of blow your head off. And sour beers, you know, when you think about rate beer and stuff like that, I've made this comment on some of the Breakeriet videos that I've done. Sour beers, it's one of these ones, I mean, when it comes to an IPA, for example, you know exactly what you want from a really good IPA. With a sour beer, I've had some really, really nice ones, but I've not really found that kind of niche in the style that I really enjoy, if you like. But ones like this, I mean, if I think to the mango that I had from Dugis, I think it was the Swedish Ninja as well that I had from Breakeria, and now this one. These are the kind of ones I like. I do like my sour beers a bit lighter and things like that. So it's really interesting. That's a really nice kind of sessionable sour beer. So if that's the kind of thing you want from your sour beers, then this could be one that you'd really quite enjoy, I reckon. What I would say is, from what I remember, I'm enjoying this one a good bit more than the others. The others weren't bad beers or anything like that, but to me, this one, as far as I can think, is the best out of the 3 Tempel beers that I've tried, at least in my opinion. As I always say, beer is quite subjective. So the malt base with this one, I would say there's a little bit of a sort of wheaty, kind of white bready quality to this. That just blankets the middle of your tongue. As it mellows on a little bit, you can feel the sort of wheaty, bready character just kind of pushing its way out a little bit. Some sweet biscuit down the middle of the tongue, but that's quite minimal. It is mainly leaning towards the kind of wheaty, bready sort of thing with this beer. Yeah, I reckon there's a bit of Nelson Sauvin in there. I really do. If you actually know if this beer has Nelson Sauvin in it, do comment in the section below and let me know. But I'm sure that there is some quite distinctive flavours of that there. So on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, there's a wee kind of touch of earthiness there, and it's almost like a kind of German noble hop earthiness actually. So I don't know, maybe they've used a little bit of, it could be they've used a little bit of Hallertau or Tettnanger or something like that, but I don't think, that said, that I've ever had a Nelson Sauvin like single hop ale, so I'm not sure if Nelson Sauvin can give you a little bit of earthiness at that, but the earthiness that comes out of this is quite reminiscent of that slightly sweet earthy quality that you get from the likes of Tettnang and Hallertau hops. So I would be curious about that as well, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, there's a little bit of floral character there. Round the very front curve of the palate, you get a little bit of a lighter sort of grassy note, and then of course behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get that little oily bubble where some of these nice kind of fruity esters come out. And as I say, I think there's a little bit of a kind of green grapey quality to this one. I do think there is Nelson Sauvin in here. Yeah, I reckon there's a little bit of that in there. And the thing that, Nelson Sauvin's an interesting one because it's a hop that's really difficult to get a hold of from what I understand. If it's still as it is right enough, it could well have changed. But Nelson Sauvin hops were in really high demand, and it was very difficult for even breweries like Beavertown and things like that, for them to get that from the suppliers was really difficult, because the bigger breweries like Brewdog and all that were basically hoovering up Nelson Sauvin every time it actually made it over to the UK and to Europe and stuff like that. So that was one of the things that I wasn't sure about with this, because Tempel of course are quite a small brewery in the grand scheme of things, but then maybe again Nelson Sauvin hops are a bit more readily available, so yeah. But yeah, that's a nice beer, that. Have a go at this. If you like a nice kind of light, sessionable sour beer, you are going to quite enjoy this one. I always quite like the golden sour beers like this, but those green kind of grapey flavours that this one has is really nice. You can feel that sort of sharp, tart, citricy character, that almost lemony Lactobacillus Brettanomyces type thing. You can feel that just around the edge of the tongue. That's taken away a little bit of the bitterness that you would get from the hops, because Nelson Sauvin, of course, I'm sure it's around 13% alpha acid. You would normally get quite a bit of bitterness from that, but you can feel that sort of soury character is just taking away a little bit of that kind of bitter note to the beer. But overall, it's really nice. I mean, it's quite straight up in what it's going for. It's nice and bready, it's got a little bit of that green grapey flavour. It's just meant to, I think this is a good kind of summer sour beer. I'm not sure if that's what it's intentioned for, but for me, that's the kind of niche that this beer fits into, if you like. So a really nice one. If you like these light kind of sessionable sour beers, if you enjoyed Mango 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 from Dugas Brewery, this one, it has that same vibe about it, but it's a little bit more leaning towards those green grapey flavours. I think that's a good way to kind of summarise this one, actually. So it's a nice beer, this one, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. It's a bit of a shame that it's quite hard to get a hold of one of these, to be quite honest with you. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this one is quite light-bodied. Carbonation is quite crisp on this one, which is a good thing with the sour beers, I always find. I would say the mouthfeel, It's got a little bit of an oily character, but mainly it's a wet mouthfeel, I would say. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, some nice kind of juicy fruity qualities in there, like I'm saying, a good bit of tartness, and the malt base is just kind of fairly smooth. There's a little touch of sweetness from some biscuit in there as well. But overall, another really nice beer from Tempel, and I'm glad that I got to have a taste of this one. So yeah, thank you. As always, I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching. Of course, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Tempel Brygghus as well. And do let me know if you've seen any IPAs and stouts and things like that from these guys that aren't sour, because as I say, I'm sure they were saying they wanted to actually expand into that recently. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys very soon. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media, but most importantly, support your local craft breweries and have a go at some of these Tempel Brygghus ones if you're into your sour beers. This one is a really nice kind of summery session beer. So if you like, as I say, some of these Precariat session beers or Mango from Dugas Brewery, then you are going to enjoy this one. So until the next time, slange you just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Simulacrum from Tempel Brygghus in Uppsala in Sweden. Skål!